Mental health isn't a real thing. The entire concept is inherently flawed. Therapy is just a religion for atheists and people who have the personality of a type A4 piece of paper. If you're going to a therapist or taking crazy pills, you should probably stop. And I'm not just saying that to be edgy, I'm saying it because it's true. The more time you spend thinking about your anxiety, or your depression, or your childhood trauma, the more power it holds over you. And trying to talk about your mental health problems with anyone, it's just a fool's errand, because it's an inherently unserious topic. Nobody gives a shit if you're nervous, or sad, or you had a bad childhood, because everyone else is nervous and sad and had bad childhoods. It's called the human condition, and it's something that we all have to live with. The only difference between people who want to talk about their mental health and people who don't is that people who want to talk about it are fag. Wanting to talk about your mental health doesn't make you more responsible, it just makes you gay. Realistically, nobody wants or is going to tiptoe around your mental health problems, because that gets real tiring real fast, especially for your loved ones. And that doesn't mean they don't love you, it's just that when you put all of your problems onto others, you're asking them to do the impossible. Most people are this close to snapping themselves, and they don't have the time, energy, or know-how to deal with your shit too. They don't know how to help you. And that's not a societal problem that can be fixed or addressed. It's just a fact of reality, and it's never going to change. At the end of the day, you, the individual, are the only person who can fix your personal problems. And the less anyone else knows about it, the better. If you actually want to improve your mental health, the onus is entirely on you. And for most people, it's not even that difficult. All the bro sciencey shit that you see on the internet, it actually works. Physical exercise, proper diet, getting enough vitamin D, stop watching porn, go outside, stay off the internet. Just doing those few things alone will probably bring you to a baseline level of mental well-being, and then from there you can start trying to fix the other shit that's probably actually causing the rest of your mental health issues. Things like being poor, having a shitty job, having a fucked up body, being lonely, having no confidence, having no direction in life. It's shit like that that really fucks with your head. In all likelihood, the reason you want to kill yourself isn't because of a chemical disbalance in your brain. It's because you work in McDonald's. Therapy and drugs don't fix that. You're not suffering from a mental health condition. Your life just sucks. And for the very, very few amount of people who do actually have a chemical disbalance in their brain, you can consider taking the crazy pills, but I'd be damn sure that you actually need them first. Frankly, even if you do actually need them, I still think you'd be better off just thugging it out. They're not magic solutions, and they will fuck you up. Anyway, there is also an entire genre of person whose whole personality revolves around therapy and their mental health and their traumas. I hate these people. These people suck. I want to kill them. They've turned the whole concept of mental health into a religion, and they don't even want to solve their problems, because then they'd have no personality and nothing to talk about. For them, it's a lifestyle. But you're not supposed to share all of your shortcomings with everyone. You're supposed to be ashamed of them and try to fix them. Talking about the various mental problems or unresolved traumas that you have is like talking about not being able to spell or do math. Keep that shit to yourself because it's embarrassing and it makes everyone think less of you. A lot of the time it's college kids who will do this type of shit because they think it's trendy or cool to pretend to be fucked in the head. It's not. It's just pathetic, and it makes me dislike you. If you're throwing anxiety or depression or your childhood traumas into conversations like that's supposed to be normal, acceptable, or relatable, don't. Read a book or something so you'll have something interesting to say. Your mental health issues are nothing special. A certain amount of anxiety and depression and childhood trauma is baked into the human experience. And most of the other psychological problems are either fake or the result of lifestyle choices. You don't have ADHD. You just spend way too much time on the internet frying your brain. Your dopamine receptors are running on empty. And by the way, your therapist doesn't know shit. They may call themselves professionals, but they cheated their way through university just like everyone else. And when you think of a psychologist or a therapist, you're probably imagining an old white guy with glasses and a cigar in his mouth. But that's not what you get. What you get is an insane, autistic, mid-witted lesbian who thinks that all of your problems stem from your repressed sexuality. I personally know a guy who tried to off himself when his girlfriend broke up with him. And when he went to a therapist about it afterwards, she told him that the reason why he was so upset might be because he's actually gay. Imagine trying to off yourself and then going to someone about it. Instead of giving you advice, they just call you a fag. These people are nothing but idiots, but because nobody has the self-confidence to think for themselves, they just assume that the person behind the desk with the title knows better than they do. They don't. It's not 1973 anymore. These people don't know anything that you couldn't Google for yourself in 5 minutes. You should stay the hell away from therapists. I'm basically an agnostic, and while I don't necessarily believe in God yet, I know for certain there's no such thing as an atheist. Everyone puts their faith in something, it's just a matter of what. And the only difference between going to a therapist and going to a priest is that the priest isn't going to call you a fag, and having some faith might actually be good for you. Because I do actually think that psychology is a useful and important thing to understand, but these people have ruined it. Understanding things like what actually causes people to be happy, how to get good at something, what makes people likable, it's very important if you want to have a good, fulfilling life. But the problem is that it's very easy to get bad information and end up making your life worse instead of better by following bad trains of thought, convincing yourself that you have problems that you don't actually have, or taking life-ruining drugs. At the end of the day, practical, applicable psychology is not very complicated, and it's actually fairly intuitive. If you're ever reading something and it sounds like it's convoluted, wrong, or gay, that's because it is. Always trust your gut over what some piece of paper or your gay therapist tells you. And if your dad fucked you when you were a kid, keep that shit to yourself.